For 3 years, I worked inside a bank as a credit manager. My job was simple. I decided who gets a loan and who doesn't, which means I saw something most people never get to see. I saw the real numbers behind people's lives, not the Instagram version, the bank statement version. I saw who was actually safe and who was just pretending to be, even to themselves. And there was one pattern I saw again and again, especially with married women. Some women, no matter what happened in their marriage, stayed completely safe, untouchable, and others who looked just as secure from the outside ended up with nothing in their hands. Same education, same kind of husband, same kind of house. So, what was the difference? Who actually goes broke after marriage and who doesn't? That's what I'm going to tell you today. Stay with me till the end because the answer is not the one you are expecting. And by the end, you'll know exactly which one of these women you are right now. Let me tell you about two women. I'll change the details, but this is real. Both came to the bank the same month. The first one, let's call her a homemaker, confident, beautifully dressed, lovely family. Her husband earned very, very well. She walked in like someone who had never worried about money a day in her life. On paper, she had everything. The second, let's call her B, also a homemaker, quieter, a little nervous actually. Her family had less money, much less. If you'd asked me that day who is more financially secure, anyone would have said A. Obviously A. But here's what I knew that you couldn't see. A didn't have a single thing in her own name. Not one account, not one rupee she could call hers. Everything, the house, the savings, the cards, everything ran through her husband. She wasn't poor, she was invisible. I remember it so clearly on our system. When I searched for her, there was almost nothing. To the bank, A barely existed. B was different. B had one small account in her own name and one small habit. We'll come back to that habit because it changed everything. Now life happened. It always does. Maybe it's a job loss, maybe it's an illness, maybe it's a marriage that quietly falls apart. Maybe it's just life turning the way it turns for all of us eventually. And the women everyone thought was set for all her life was the one left with nothing in her hands at the exact moment she needed something the most. Now I know what some of you are thinking right now. That won't happen to me. My husband would never. We trust each other completely. We are a team. And I want to be very honest with you because I respect you too much to sugarcoat this. I heard those exact words from almost every single woman who later sat across from me with nothing. It wasn't that their husbands were bad men. Most of them were not. It's that trust and a safety net are two completely different things. You can love someone with your whole heart and still keep one foot standing firmly on your own ground. In fact, the women with the strongest marriages I met, they were often the ones who had their own financial footing because there's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing even if the worst happened, I would be okay. That confidence doesn't weaken a marriage, it steadies it. So, let me tell you what I actually learned sitting on the other side of that desk. And I need you to really hear the first part. This is not about how much money your family has. The richest families I met often had women who were one bad day away from being completely helpless. It came down to a few quiet things. Let me give you four. Number one, Money you cannot see is money you do not control. If everything is in his name, even out of love, even out of pure trust, you have no record, no identity in the system. The day you ever need to stand on your own, to rent a home, to borrow, to simply prove who you are financially, the system asks one question: what do you have? And we is not an answer. The system only understands you. Number two, a woman with even a small footprint of her own always recovered faster. It didn't have to be big. One account in her own name, one small thing that was hers. I watched it again and again. The women who had even a little of their own, they had options. They could breathe. They could make a choice instead of begging for one. And options are everything. Number three, the women who knew her numbers was never caught off guard. This was B's habit, the one I told you we'd come back to. B didn't earn much, but B knew. She knew what her family had, what they owed, where the money went. She wasn't in charge of it all. She was simply awake to it. And the women who were awake, they saw trouble coming a mile away. They had time to prepare. The women who were not only found out when it was already too late. Number four, and this is the one nobody talks about. The most vulnerable women I ever met were not the ones without money. They were the ones who had stopped looking, the ones who said, he handles all of that. Don't understand these things. Numbers are not my thing. And listen, I understand why after marriage, after kids, after moving to a new country, it is so easy to slowly hand it all over, one later at a time. Not because you are lazy, because you are tired and you are trusting, and there's so much else to carry. But that slow handover, that is exactly how a capable, intelligent woman wakes up one day with no idea where she stands. Now, I'm not here to give you financial advice. I don't know your life. This is just what I say with my own eyes for years. But I promise you, these patterns are the same everywhere, whether you live in Delhi or in Dallas, London or Dubai. The country changes, the bank changes, human nature does not. So if you are sitting there thinking, okay, but what do I actually do? Let me give you somewhere to start. Not big, not dramatic, just the beginning. First, find out where you stand. This week, just look what is in your name, what is not. You can't fix what you refuse to see. And knowing, even if it scares you, is the first step to never being caught off guard. Second, have one thing that is truly yours, one account in your own name. That's it. Not to hide anything, not to keep secrets, simply so that you exist on paper, in the system, in your own life. Third, have the honest conversation. Sit with your partner, not as an accusation, as a team upgrade. I want to understand our money. I want us both to know where we stand. A good partner will welcome that. A great marriage can hold that conversation. And fourth, keep learning a little every week, because the most powerful thing I ever saw was not a woman with money. It was a woman who understood it. None of this means leaving anyone. None of this means fighting anyone. It just means refusing to be invisible in your own life. So go back to A and B. Remember A, the one who had everything in his name. When her life turned, she had to ask permission for her own survival. She had to prove herself from zero at the worst possible time with the least possible strength. And B, the quiet one with so much less, that one small account, that habit of knowing her own numbers. It meant that when her storm came, she wasn't starting from nothing. She had a foothold, a name, a beginning, a way forward. B was not richer, B was not smarter, B was simply visible in her own life, awake to her own life. So, who actually goes broke after marriage? It's not the women whose husband earns less. It's not the women from the smarter family. It's not even the women whose marriage ends. It's the women who handed over every single thread of her financial identity and kept nothing in her own hands. That's it. That's the whole thing I saw from behind that desk in my ears as a credit manager. It was never about how much you have, it's about how much is actually yours. And here's the good news, the part I really want you to walk away with tonight. You can change which women you are, starting this week with one look, one account, one honest conversation, one small step back into your own financial life. You don't have to leave anyone. You don't have to fight anyone. You just have to stop being invisible. I am building this whole channel around exactly this, helping women like us keep our money, our voice, and ourselves after marriage. So tell me in the comments and be honest. It's just us here. Do you have even one thing that is truly in your own name? Just one. No judgment. I genuinely want to know where you are starting from, because wherever that is, it's a start, and that's all it matters. If this made you think, subscribe. There's so much more I want you to share with, and I'll see you in the next one.